Welcome to our new episode. Deep in the ruins of an ancient civilization, archaeologists uncovered a tablet covered in symbols no one has ever read. Experts say it holds a secret message, one that could change everything we know about history. What does it say? And why has it remained a mystery for thousands of years? In a remote corner of the world, archaeologists uncovered a tablet covered in symbols no one had ever seen. Experts said it contained a message, one that could rewrite history. But what it revealed was far stranger than anyone could imagine. The Anatolian plateau was silent except for the whisper of the wind weaving through rugged cliffs and hidden valleys. It was a landscape that had witnessed millennia of civilizations rise and fall, yet few had ever ventured deep enough to uncover its secrets. Dr. Evelyn Hart, a leading epigrapher and archaeologist from Harvard, had spent years combing the region, tracing ancient trade routes and abandoned settlements, piecing together fragments of societies that had long vanished from the historical record. Evelyn had heard the local legends, a village at the edge of the plateau, abandoned after an unknown disaster, where the ground was said to speak at night. Skeptical but intrigued, she organized an expedition in the early spring, accompanied by a team of archaeologists, cryptographers, and local guides. The goal was simple: survey the ruins and document any finds. What they discovered, however, would change the course of her career and history itself. In a collapsed temple buried beneath centuries of soil and rubble, the team uncovered a set of small, dark clay tablets. At first glance, they appeared unremarkable, no larger than a modern smartphone, yet each surface was covered in a fluid, looping script unlike anything Evelyn had ever seen. The symbols seemed almost alive, curving in ways that suggested motion and punctuated by dots, lines, and geometric figures that defied conventional logic. Surrounding the writing were carvings of hybrid creatures, lions with eagle heads, serpents curling into spirals, and humans reaching toward celestial bodies. Each detail hinted at a culture deeply attuned to the cosmos, yet utterly alien in expression. Evelyn carefully lifted one of the tablets, brushing away centuries of dust. "This isn't just writing," she murmured. "This is a code, and someone went to extraordinary lengths to make sure no one would read it easily." Weeks passed as the team meticulously documented the tablets. Standard epigraphic methods failed. Linguists noted that the script bore no resemblance to Hittite, Akkadian, or Luwian. Attempts to compare it to other undeciphered scripts worldwide, Indus Valley symbols, Rangorongo from Easter Island, Linear A, yielded no results. The more Evelyn examined the tablets, the more she became convinced these were not merely writing, but a deliberate encryption. As the days lengthened into nights, the team began to notice patterns. Some sequences repeated with predictable regularity, suggesting numbers or calendar systems. Certain symbols appeared only in clusters, often flanked by motifs resembling stars, moons, or the sun. The tablets were not only informational, they were encoded with astronomical knowledge. One sequence corresponded exactly to the heliacal rising of Sirius, another to lunar cycles observed in 1500 BCE. The civilization that created these tablets had clearly possessed a sophisticated understanding of the heavens. Evelyn called in Jonas Meyer, a cryptographer with experience in historical ciphers. Jonas spent hours analyzing the script, running algorithms and pattern recognition software, yet even modern technology struggled to make sense of it. One night, Jonas exclaimed, "Evelyn, this isn't just a language, it's layered. Astronomy, mathematics, and ritual encoded together.
Whoever made this wasn't thinking like us. They were thinking centuries ahead. This revelation sparked intense debate within the team. Could an ancient civilization really encode a message designed to remain hidden for thousands of years? As Evelyn pondered, she couldn't shake a growing sense of urgency. "They left something for us," she whispered to herself, "something they wanted to survive the ages." To understand the culture, Evelyn and her team began excavating the surrounding ruins. They found evidence of sprawling cities, multi-tiered homes built with mud brick, central plazas featuring stone altars, and what appeared to be early observatories. Artifacts indicated the society had advanced metallurgy, early engineering knowledge, and a complex social structure divided into artisans, priests, and scholars. Their economy had relied on trade routes that extended hundreds of miles, evidenced by obsidian, exotic shells, and rare metals found in ceremonial sites. Yet for all their advancement, there was a profound mystery. The cities had been abandoned suddenly. No signs of conquest, no traces of epidemics beyond a few isolated skeletal markers, just silence. The same abruptness seemed mirrored in the tablets. Sequences began in detail, but ended abruptly, leaving gaps that suggested unfinished stories, unrecorded knowledge, or warnings never delivered. One evening, Evelyn noticed something that made her heart race. A particular tablet contained concentric circles filled with symbols, almost like a combination lock. She realized the creators may have designed a multi-step decryption process where symbols aligned with celestial events would unlock the intended message. If she was correct, the civilization had encoded not just information, but a deliberate challenge, a test for future generations. To validate her theory, she cross-referenced the symbols with known celestial movements. Astonishingly, the alignment of the twin serpent symbols corresponded to a rare astronomical event occurring once every 3,500 years. The civilization had encoded knowledge for an audience millennia in the future. Humanity itself. Excitement mixed with trepidation as Evelyn contemplated the implications. This wasn't just archaeology, it was a message across time. She documented every detail, photographing, scanning, and digitally modeling the tablets to preserve them for analysis. Each night she stayed by the excavation tents, examining the tablets under candlelight, tracing every curve and dot with her fingers. As part one drew to a close, Evelyn made a promise to herself and the lost civilization. She would unlock their message, no matter how long it took. The secret they had hidden for millennia was waiting, and she would not let it slip through history's fingers. The wind over the Anatolian plateau was sharper in the late summer, cutting across the cliffs and carrying dust that settled over the excavation site like a thin veil of time itself. Dr. Evelyn Hart could feel the weight of centuries pressing down on her shoulders as she pored over the newly uncovered tablets. Every symbol seemed to hum with meaning, each curve and line a fragment of a puzzle meant to endure the ages. She had devoted years to studying ancient scripts, yet nothing had prepared her for this. Her colleague, Jonas Meyer, had begun referring to the tablets as the timeless cipher. Despite the most sophisticated cryptographic algorithms at his disposal, the code remained largely indecipherable. However, the team had made small but tantalizing progress. Patterns emerged that suggested the tablets were more than a record of the past. They were instructions, warnings, and guidance encoded in layers of meaning. Some lines detailed astronomical events, while others hinted at agricultural practices, trade, and ritual, all intertwined in a symbolic lattice that seemed almost musical in its rhythm. Evelyn's days were consumed with comparisons between the tablets and surrounding artifacts. she discovered stone carvings near a long-abandoned village, images so precise they could only have been deliberately aligned with the tablet's symbols. They depicted humans interacting with stars, serpents coiled into spirals, and hybrid creatures holding strange cylindrical objects. One carving in particular drew her attention. A figure pointing to a constellation and then lowering their hand toward a mound on the ground, as if indicating a hidden chamber. Evelyn's pulse quickened. Could this be the key to understanding the civilization's ultimate secret? In the evenings, Evelyn mapped the symbols against celestial charts. Slowly, an astonishing pattern emerged. The so-called twin serpents, the recurring motif that had first drawn her attention, aligned with two constellations that were only visible in a rare celestial configuration, one that occurred once every 3,500 years. According to the tablets, this alignment marked the opening of a hidden repository of knowledge. It was a deliberate design, a civilization anticipating a distant future, leaving behind encoded instructions for those who could understand. The deeper the team delved, the more dangerous the mystery became. As Evelyn deciphered more sequences, they revealed warnings about scarcity, drought, and societal collapse. The civilization had endured catastrophic changes, sudden shifts in climate, migrations, and conflicts that threatened its survival. Yet the creators of the tablets had encoded these events not as despairing chronicles, but as lessons for the future. In essence, they were saying, "We survived knowledge, not conquest. Learn from us." However, progress did not come easily. The team faced constant setbacks. Some tablets were fractured beyond repair, others buried beneath layers of rubble that threatened to crumble. Rival archaeologists, suspicious of Evelyn's claims, argued that she was over-interpreting ambiguous symbols. Skeptics dismissed the work as pseudo-archaeology, claiming that patterns found in the tablets were coincidental rather than deliberate. But Evelyn pressed on, convinced that the civilization had intentionally designed a challenge, confident that perseverance would reveal the truth. Months later, the breakthrough arrived unexpectedly. Evelyn noticed that a specific tablet contained an intricate circular pattern, nested rings of symbols that seemed almost hypnotic. Unlike other tablets, the outermost ring bore minute notches, hinting at rotational alignment. She realized the civilization had encoded a type of symbolic lock, one that required a specific celestial alignment to reveal its true meaning. It was a code built not just to be read, but to be unlocked, a message meant for the far future. Jonas spent weeks simulating rotations of the circular tablet, aligning its symbols with the positions of constellations recorded on other tablets. As he adjusted the patterns to match the twin serpents' alignment, a partial translation emerged, sequences that appeared to represent not words, but instructions, complex schematics for storage chambers, agricultural practices, and medicinal practices. The civilization had not merely survived, they had prepared a blueprint to ensure their knowledge would endure catastrophes. The implications were staggering. The tablet suggested that their civilization, though vanished, had achieved levels of sophistication previously unknown for that era. They had mastered engineering, chemistry, medicine, and astronomy. Yet their knowledge had been intentionally obscured, hidden behind a cipher so intricate that only the most patient and clever minds could unravel it. The final revelation came from the fragments describing a metallic artifact hidden beneath the earth meant to survive millennia. The tablets provided cryptic directions for locating it, hinting at a chamber buried in a valley that had since been swallowed by modern settlements. According to the translations, this artifact was symbolic and practical, a repository of knowledge, perhaps even a key to understanding the full extent of the civilization's wisdom. The team faced immediate challenges. The supposed location had been transformed by modern agriculture, roads, and villages. Excavating it risked not only legal trouble, but potential damage to fragile remnants. Evelyn knew that to proceed, she would need extraordinary planning, patience, and cooperation with local authorities. But the excitement was impossible to suppress. We are on the brink of uncovering something no one has seen in 3,500 years, she told Jonas. We have to find it. Meanwhile, subtle dangers emerged. Rival treasure hunters and black market antiquities traders caught wind of the discovery. The tablet's fame spread, creating a climate of tension and secrecy. Evelyn and her team worked under tight security, knowing that the tablets were more than artifacts. They were priceless, irreplaceable messages from a lost civilization. As they prepared for the next phase of excavation, Evelyn reflected on the civilization itself. From the tablets and carvings, a portrait emerged, a people deeply spiritual, intensely observant of the cosmos, yet practical in their approach to survival. They had encoded knowledge in a way that required not only intelligence, but also dedication, patience, and an understanding of natural cycles. The message was clear. Wisdom was meant to endure, not to be wielded carelessly. The discovery captured the imagination of the world. Conferences, documentaries, and academic journals debated the meaning of the tablets. Evelyn insisted on transparency while safeguarding the site, publishing findings with rigorous analysis. Slowly, the tablets were recognized not merely as curiosities, but as a paradigm shift in understanding ancient civilizations. The climax of Part 2 arrived when the team located a faint depression in the valley floor, a site matching the tablet's encoded directions. Geophysical surveys revealed a hidden chamber, sealed beneath layers of sediment and stone. The entrance appeared untouched by looters or time, as if the civilization had designed it to remain secret until the distant future. The tablet's instructions had been precise. The cryptic message was now poised to reveal the civilization's ultimate secret. Evelyn stood at the threshold, heart pounding. "We are about to touch the past in a way no one ever has," she whispered. "And when we do, it will change everything we thought we knew about these people, and perhaps about ourselves."
The dawn over the Anatolian plateau cast long, golden rays across the excavation site, illuminating the rugged cliffs and the hidden valley where Dr. Evelyn Hart and her team had uncovered the first hints of an underground chamber. After years of meticulous research, sleepless nights, and painstaking deciphering of the undeciphered tablets, they had arrived at the culmination of their quest. Beneath layers of sediment, centuries of abandonment, and the relentless march of time, the secrets of the ancient civilization, the Zyrian people, were finally within reach. The entrance to the chamber was a narrow crevice, partially concealed by boulders and overgrown vegetation. Jonas Meyer carefully scanned the structure for signs of instability. "One false step, Evelyn, and centuries of preservation could be destroyed," he warned. The team worked in silence, using carefully calibrated tools to remove stones and debris. Every inch revealed the sophistication of the builders, precise masonry, hidden locks, and channels designed to direct water away from the chamber. It was clear that the civilization had anticipated millennia of neglect. Inside, the chamber opened into a low-ceilinged hall, surprisingly intact despite the centuries. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight filtering through cracks in the ceiling. Along the walls were alcoves containing artifacts arranged in deliberate order: clay vessels, intricately carved figurines, bronze tools, and scroll-like bundles of organic materials preserved in resin. Evelyn's eyes widened. Each object had been cataloged, almost as if the creators had anticipated an audience in the far future. At the center of the chamber sat the most enigmatic artifact of all, a metallic object shaped like a multifaceted prism, engraved with the same undeciphered symbols as the tablets. It was heavier than it appeared, cold to the touch, yet it radiated an almost imperceptible energy, as if holding within it the consciousness of the civilization that had crafted it. Jonas leaned closer, scanning it with portable spectrometry equipment. "Metals we haven't identified," he whispered. "Alloy compositions that shouldn't exist for this era. Whoever made this knew things we're only discovering now." The team carefully documented every detail, photographing, scanning, and measuring. But even as they marveled at the craftsmanship, Evelyn's mind raced. The tablets had suggested that the artifact contained encoded knowledge, practical, philosophical, and possibly spiritual. Unlocking it would require more than brute force. It demanded understanding the civilization's worldview, their celestial cycles, and the symbolic logic of their code. Using the tablets as a guide, Evelyn began the decryption process. The circular tablet, the combination lock, was positioned above the prism, aligned with the current constellations. She rotated it slowly, matching symbols with the stars visible in the night sky. As the patterns aligned, the metallic artifact emitted a faint hum, and panels hidden within its surface slid open, revealing compartments filled with more delicate objects, miniature tools, etched metal plates, and scrolls preserved in a resin coating. Among the contents were instructions for agricultural techniques far advanced for their time. Methods for water conservation, crop rotation, and soil preservation were described in detail. Other sections contained medicinal knowledge, herbs, preparation methods, and anatomical observations indicating a surprisingly sophisticated understanding of physiology. The civilization had deliberately encoded these instructions, ensuring that future generations could survive and thrive even if the world changed dramatically. But the most remarkable discovery was philosophical. Inscribed on thin metal plates were sequences of symbols that, when cross-referenced with the tablets, revealed a worldview centered on the endurance of knowledge. The Zyrian people had understood the fragility of life, the inevitability of change, and the necessity of preserving wisdom. One translated line, repeated throughout the artifacts, read, "Knowledge is the vessel. Understanding is the key. Time is our ally, and those who come after are our partners." As Evelyn pieced together the civilization's message, she realized its broader significance. The Zyrians had not only documented their history and survival strategies, but also encoded an ethical framework for future generations. They emphasized patience, observation, and cooperation, principles essential for civilizations that would face environmental or societal upheavals. It was a message not of despair, but of hope and foresight. The discovery had immediate impact. News of the chamber, the tablets, and the artifacts spread worldwide. Universities, scientific institutions, and governments took notice. Evelyn ensured the findings were shared responsibly, balancing public interest with preservation. The artifact itself was stabilized for further study, revealing its secrets layer by layer. For the team, the experience was transformative. Jonas remarked, "It's as if they reached across millennia and trusted us to understand them." Evelyn nodded. They did. They left us a blueprint, not just of their civilization, but of the principles that allowed them to endure in code and in spirit. Archaeologists began examining other undeciphered scripts worldwide, inspired by the Zyrian example. The discovery suggested that similar civilizations might have intentionally encoded knowledge, waiting for the right moment and the right audience to unlock it. Historians revisited assumptions about technological development, realizing that human ingenuity had often been underestimated. As months turned into years, Evelyn and her team published detailed analyses. The tablets and artifact provided insights into the Zyrian society, their astronomy, mathematics, medicine, and philosophy. The civilization emerged not merely as a historical curiosity, but as a paradigm for resilience, intelligence, and foresight. But the greatest lesson was subtle and personal. Evelyn often stood on the plateau at dusk, watching the stars trace the patterns encoded by Desirians. She reflected on the extraordinary effort required to communicate across millennia, on the patience and care embedded in every symbol. The civilization had vanished in body, yet its wisdom endured, reaching across time to guide those who could interpret it. The story of the undeciphered script became a symbol of humanity's potential to learn from the past, to preserve knowledge, and to bridge the gap between generations. In the quiet of the Anatolian plateau, the tablets, the chamber, and the artifact remained, a testament to the Zairian people's enduring legacy. And though centuries had passed, their message rang clear. The past is never lost. It waits for those patient enough to seek, clever enough to decipher, and wise enough to carry it forward. Evelyn smiled, holding a tablet gently in her hands, feeling the pulse of history beneath her fingertips. "They trusted us," she whispered, "and we will not betray them." The sun set over the valley, painting the plateau in gold and crimson. The Zairian civilization had vanished physically, but its wisdom, encoded in an undeciphered script and a mysterious artifact, had survived. It was a bridge across time, a story of human ingenuity and foresight, and a reminder that even in the face of oblivion, knowledge can endure, and perhaps guide the generations yet to come.